Hello everyone! So, this is my non-legit Megalopolis of SimCity SNES. So, yeah, I used some cheats here. I used the $1 million codes, and I guess it depends on how you look at it. It's either a feature of the game that you can actually do this, an exploit, or just out cheats. I consider it either an exploit or just simply a feature of the game, a hidden one. I did zone stacking. That's basically when you build a residential zone, you bulldoze houses on one side, and you build another zone over it. That's why these look funny. But they still function as normal. Only the residential zones don't and can't be stacked. Oh man, some more shitty neighborhoods. So, what I more or less did was, before I built any of the gifts, I just built my city out. So I put my industrial zones on the edge here, and the nuclear plants down here, I stacked those too, for that extra space. And I replaced them, this is hard difficulty by the way, I replaced them every 6 years, or not 6 years, oh my god, every 50 years or so. I had a nuclear disaster and didn't really want to deal with that again. I did have, you do have automatic disasters, unfortunately, in hard difficulty. And some of them are just really nasty, so what I did was, I just used save states periodically. Oh yes, I did. And when I encountered a disaster that was intolerable, I just simply went back to an older save state, and then I did something different to shake up the RNG. For instance, it's randomly generated when these events happen, and if you only go back to your previous save state and do nothing different, let's say you're just watching your city grow, then the same disaster will happen again and again at the same time. But let's say you just place a commercial zone somewhere in between when you go back to your save state and the prophesied event, then it doesn't happen, or you get a different one. And I'd much rather have something like an airplane crash or one fire that I just bulldoze around it. Didn't bother with fire departments for the most part. I was going to put them near my gifts, and then I apparently just didn't do that, because I only just remembered now. Thankfully it didn't matter. It's easy enough to look up how to do the cheat code, so I'm not going to go over it. Oh yeah, 0 taxes, 100% funding, obviously if I'm using the cheat. So yeah, I had the industrial on the outer edge. Commercial, I made a ring around that. If I had doubled up industrial, I had a double up commercial zone. Otherwise, just a single one is a buffer between the polluted areas and my residential zones. And once I finished building up my city and the land was pretty much covered, and also as I was doing this, I would check things like the land value, crime, and of course my police coverage to see where that was weakest. Fire didn't matter to me because I took care of fires myself by bulldozing around the fires and containing them as needed. Any land I wasn't using as I was building up, I put parks, but once I was finished building, it was a matter of checking the land value and placing gifts where I thought they would do best. The Mario one, of course, came after becoming a Megalopolis, and then, you know, the rest was history, so who cares? That's just, a way to celebrate that you made it to the final phase. Yeah, definitely would not have been able to do it this way legit, if it's even possible to do it legit. I do not know. With or without zone stacking. Even with all of that, I had all of this covered in residential zones, by the way, where you see parks. I had a very low demand for residential zones, high demand for commercial and industrial when I covered everything. I tried replacing some residential zones with commercial zones. Eventually, I just destroyed all the shitty neighborhoods that just had shitty houses on them, and the ones that had moderately shitty houses. These, the one I have my brackets around, that's the shittiest. Apparently, some of those have reappeared. Yeah. Let's see, what else was there? That's pretty much it. Placing all that shit. Oh yeah, and just ended up building a bunch more commercial zones, and I put parks down where I destroyed most of my residential zones, the useless ones. I also did... Anywhere I found a school and a hospital, I replaced with a commercial zone. And eventually, I got to this point where everything's in high demand, and I hit population 500,000. Right before I was about to hit it earlier, I got a tornado and had to change the RNG because I don't think so. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.